This is a Flying Cow production.
Well, hello, and welcome to the preview special for Movie Battles Blowout 2. That's right, our second year of Movie Battles has come to an end, and it is culminating in our biggest event, Movie Battles Blowout. And we have some amazing matches for you guys, and we are here to talk about those, tell you exactly what to expect, and make our picks as to who is going to walk out of Blowout victorious. But I am not doing this alone. Of course, I have here with me today Dr. Megan McCurley. Megan, how are you?
I'm doing well. We just wrapped up a pretty amazing tournament. And like you said, this is our big event of the year. And we definitely have some really cool matches lined up. So I'm excited to talk about all that.
Absolutely. And as always, we like to try to bring in a player's perspective. So we have here with us today the litigator, Lauren Collins. Lauren, how are you, sir?
I'm doing okay, Clay. Glad to be here and glad to help, like you said, provide some players' perspective with, comparison to y'all's expertise on the matter.
All right. Well, Lauren, you got to play in last year's Blowout. You played in that big triple threat #1 contender. I know, that unfortunately didn't exactly go your way, but I know that it was quite an intense match for you, and I'm sure that a lot of these players are staring down the barrel of some equally intense matches. So you'll just have to give us an idea of what they might be thinking, I guess.
Sure. Happy to.
All right. So like I said, we are going to be debuting Movie Battles Blowout just like last year. It is going to take place over a series of nights. It's not all going to be on one day. It will take place on kind of the run up to Christmas. The first match will be dropping December 19th, Monday, December 19th. And that first match, last year we had a second chance match between two competitors that had a little bit of a harder time, but we've got a lot more competitors this year. A lot more has been going on. So we have opened this up. We're bringing back the second chance match, but it's not going to be a one-on-one. No, we are doing a 5-way elimination match as a second chance match. We have 5 competitors who are going to be playing for that coveted Spinner's Choice token, and also adding a win to their record. They are, of course, Smash Mouth, Tony Heald, Bethany, Bam McGill, the Vatriarch, Adelaide Spence, Dastardly Dan Van Heil, and the Philosopher, Kevin Poss. Some of these competitors have a couple of wins. In Tony's case, he has no wins. So a win here would be a big thing for him. It would, obviously, like I said, it would give him a win, but also that Spinner's Choice token, which would come in handy. But because this is an elimination match, it's going to be more that elimination style. It's just going to be 5 questions. Whoever does better in those 5 questions survives, whoever does the worst is eliminated. We've seen really strong competitors get eliminated very early just based on the questions. So really, this is anybody's match. It's gonna be an exciting one. I'm excited to see how this goes.
Absolutely. I think, and just thinking back to the elimination match that was our tournament qualifier even earlier in the year, that one definitely had, I think, some surprises for people who thought maybe they would end up so far, but then you get behind by one question. That sometimes is all it takes.
Yep.
So momentum and staying locked into the questions in those types of situations is definitely going to be important. Lauren, as someone who's been in elimination gauntlets in the past, would you say that rings true? Is there anything else that needs to be considered for these competitors coming into this match?
I think what Clay said is right. One of the unpredictable factors in this kind of match is that that it is elimination style. That if someone might come into this, they might have been able to just route the last 4 rounds. But if they come in and there's some question they just happen to slip up on in the first round, and the other competitors do it, they're eliminated up front, and they don't get the opportunity to make up that ground. So just the order of the questions in this matters so much more than it might in others.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Megan, Lauren has not only a reference for this. He was in the elimination gauntlet, but he won his group, so he knows what it takes at least to take down 4 other competitors. But I will say, looking at these 5, like I said, you've got Tony, who hasn't won a match, but he has looked rather impressive in some of the matches that he has played. I believe his first match, he basically had one, and then his third round just kind of fell apart, but there's no third round in this one. And Spence, I have gone on record as saying that Spence has stronger knowledge than I believe even they think. So, we never know what Spence is going to do. They have gotten a perfect round. I don't know that a lot of other competitors in this match can say that. Bethany Bam McGill has gone to sudden death twice. Won the first one, lost the second time. So she is no one to sleep on. Dan, I know Dan has had kind of a rocky road, but sometimes he can pull out impressive knowledge that you don't expect him to know, and he just does. And then Kevin TKO'd his first 2 opponents. I mean, he's had a bit of a rocky, honestly, he just, ever since losing to Hannah in last year's tournament, he just hasn't been able to put the train back on the tracks. But this might be exactly the match that he needs to do that. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and let's talk about picks. Megan, let's get your kind of the statistical point of view. Who are you seeing walking out of this match with a win and that spinner's choice token?
So actually, in reality, looking at all 5 of these competitors, they're actually fairly close as far as the numbers go. There's not a huge degree of separation amongst really any of them, at least to the point where I can clearly say that one has a definite advantage via the numbers.
Sure.
Per se. So it's really kind of difficult to just kind of from just that straight up percentage to be able to look at that. But just taking an overall look at how they've performed, I know that with this style, you get a lot of kind of a mix mash or a mishmash of different quality of questions as far as the difficulty level. But when I'm looking at the overall percentage in round 1, Spence has the higher accuracy in that first round. which tells me that there's a lot of solid base knowledge. There may be some deeper cuts that are going to be more difficult, but a much more well-rounded definition when you just look at the overall numbers. So I am going to kind of side in what you were saying earlier, that I think Spence has a lot more knowledge than they are giving themselves credit for. So I'm going to say that while it could be close coming down to it, I think the overall, just based on the numbers I'm seeing, I'm going to give Spence the edge on this one.
All right. All right. Lauren, what about you? What are your thoughts on who might win this match?
I mean, makes a compelling argument there for Spence. I can't do a Moneyball analysis of these competitors in quite the same way. But listen to what you had to say going over them and their background. It made an impression on me that Kevin had two TKOs in the past. That's pretty accomplished, you know, for this group of players. And he might be able to replicate that again.
So you're calling Kevin?
Sure.
All right. All right. So you know, when I look at this group, like I said, they all have a reason to pick them, but you know, as Meg said, based on the numbers, they're really kind of even. So it really kind of comes down to like a gut feeling. And I will say Spence was very close to, you know, my pick. They would probably be my second choice, but I don't know. I'm kind of feeling like Dan surprises us all and takes this one. So I am calling Dastardly Dan Van Hyle to claim his third win and take home that spinner's choice token. What he'll do with it, who knows? But I think he's got a good shot. All right, so that is our second match. That is our first match. So that brings us to our second match, which will be dropping on Tuesday, the 20th of December. And that is going to be a #1 contender qualifier between the King, Caleb Coho, and Mad Dog, Brian Nussbaum. That's right. Both of these two were semifinalists in the tournament. You know, they're not quite to the level of being able to call this a #1 contenders match, but whoever wins this match will be facing Nazario next season for the #1 contendership. But this is a huge step for either one of these competitors. It would, if Caleb wins, it would be his second #1 contender match, his second opportunity to, you know, go to, you know, to try to go for a championship. Brian has also had a #1 contenders match against Nazario that he won and then had a championship match. So, you know, a lot of stakes going on here. Both of these competitors both have a history with Nazario. Obviously, we all know about Brian's 3 matches, 2 of which went his way. Unfortunately, not so much in the tournament, which is why Nazario is where he is and Brian is where he is. But Caleb actually opened last season against Nazario. So should he win this match, that would be 2 years in a row that they have had their first match of the season against each other. So a lot of things on the line here. You know, both of these competitors very strong in you know, some rather difficult categories. It's on record how good Brian is at things like actors and stuff like that. But Caleb is just as eerie when it comes to like Oscars and things like that. So I mean, it's definitely going to be an interesting match between these two.
I agree. And just the history and possible history with these two competitors specifically, and then Nazario waiting for them on the other side of it, it definitely makes it to where no matter how it goes, it's going to be an interesting story and it's going to be an interesting dynamic moving into the next two matches in this number one contender hunt.
Yeah. Lauren, any thoughts about this match? Because you've been in a number one contendership match yourself.
Yep.
You know, unfortunately coming up short against Kelly in the tournament finals last year. Yeah. But I mean, what's the mindset that you need going in here?
I mean, just go in best prepared as you can. I mean, probably wouldn't hurt if either of them have any known weaknesses. You know, take advantage of that.
Absolutely.
But you know, beyond that, I don't really have any particular insight here, I'm afraid.
It's all right. It's all right. So, you know, getting into picks, you know, obviously, these two have never played each other. They're playing for the chance to each play someone that they've played before, but this match has never happened before. So I'm very intrigued. I think this time we're going to start with Lauren. Lauren, what are your thoughts on who might walk away with the win in this match?
So, I think I've played Caleb in the past.
You've played both of them.
Oh, I played
Brian in the triple threat last year in movie battles. So Brian actually, I believe, is the only person on this card that was on last year's card.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure.
Interesting.
I believe you are correct. Yeah.
In that triple threat, where'd Brian end up?
Brian ended up at the bottom.
That's what I thought.
You outlasted him by just a little bit, but you did outlast him. Yeah.
So yeah, I like you said, I've been up against both of them, but both have a lot of knowledge. If I gotta pick one, I suppose I'll give the edge to Caleb in this case. Okay. Just because he seems to have a good breadth. He seems to have done well in the past, and so you know, no fault to Brian here, but if I gotta pick a potential winner here, I'm gonna go with the King.
All right, Megs.
So I think with just about all of these matches, this one's close. These guys are definitely ones that they got to where they were in the tournament for a reason. I think their paths were a little bit different than I think, definitely for Caleb, I think it was a little different than we were anticipating. And Brian had to fight through some pretty tough competition in order to get to where he was at, ultimately, unfortunately, losing to Nazario at that point at the end. But I am going to, I thought I had my mind made up, but I am probably I'm gonna stick to my initial distinction. I'm gonna say that it is Brian in this situation. There is just that slight edge of being able to pull out some of those obscure actors that might give a little bit of a advantage in this matchup in particular. Whether or not that's going to last through having to go up against Nazario, that's another conversation that we'll have to have later on down the line. But just straight up in this match, Brian and Caleb, I am going to give the edge to Brian, but not going to be surprised at all if Caleb is able to pull that out on a 5. If it comes out down to the 5s, I could very well see it being that. I could very well see Caleb being able to pull a 5 that Brian's not able to hit on his side. So Brian may come in with an edge, but if you hit that 5, you just don't know. It could very well go the other way. But if I have to pick somebody, I'm going to say Brian here.
All right. So yeah, you two are split which
You
means
got to give
that
somebody
I'm right in the middle. Yeah. I will say both of these competitors are very strong. We have two of our strongest competitors who, you know, have been sniffing around the title picture for a while. Like I mentioned, you know, Brian got that title shot. It unfortunately didn't go very well for him, but he did get that title shot, and Caleb has been gunning for it since he got here. But they also both have pretty notable you know, weaknesses. Caleb's are a little bit more, he's been a little bit more open about what they are, mostly because he just says certain movies are bad and he refuses to watch them, apparently. Brian's, I mean, I'm not going to say what it is, just like I didn't say what Caleb's were. But again, it's pretty obvious if you pay attention. So they both have these gaps that the other person can take advantage of, because I believe, if I'm thinking about it correctly, both of them are actually strong where the other one is weak. So, you know, if, you know, they play their cards right, either one, you know, could get a decided advantage. I will also say, I think that Caleb's biggest weakness is hubris. He has a tendency to get a little bit of ahead of himself, and answer too quickly, or, you know, assume he knows what the question is and say the wrong thing, or things like that. You know, he hadn't done it for a while, but I'm pretty sure it didn't end up sinking him, but he had a similar stumble in one of his tournament matches that he was, luckily for him, able to still you know, get on the other side of. But, you know, against somebody like Brian, that might not work. But Caleb also has another huge strength on his side. Caleb wants this. Caleb wants this so bad. Like, so bad. And I'm not saying that Brian doesn't, but Brian has been there before. Brian has had the chance. He took a swing. He fell. I'm sure he wants to get back there, but Caleb has been chomping at the bit since the moment he got in this league. This is his second opportunity to get into a number one contenders match. And then that, you know, who knows what will happen from there, but he wants this so bad. He's only 2 matches away from getting a title shot. And I think he's going to do everything that he possibly can to get there. So I'm giving it to Caleb. All right.
Can't argue.
Yeah. All right. So with that, we are going to have a third match, which is going to be dropping on December 21st on a Wednesday. However, that match currently is a little bit up in the air. So we might have, you know, some more details for you later, but let's go ahead and let's move on to the final match that will be closing out Movie Battles Blowout 2, that will be dropping December 22nd, that Thursday, and that is the championship rematch between the tournament winner, Dreamworker Cameron Holzman, and the current champion, Little Boat, Caleb Boatman. Obviously, these two played earlier in the year in that short tournament to name a new champion for the vacant title. They were the last two there, and Caleb ended up pulling it out. But let's never forget how close that match was. That match was won on one question. Round number 3, the betting round. It came down to a director's question that Cameron is still kicking himself for, because all the way through the rest of that match, he was in the lead. And that 6-point swing is what did him in. Without that, we might have a very different champion right now. So obviously, these are two of the strongest competitors that we have in movie battles. You know, Cameron is coming in with an 8-1 record. Boatman, you know, obviously had a little bit of a tougher start with a record of 6-3, but he won when it counted. He won the championship. You know, after, let's not forget, Caleb's first match in this season, he lost, and then rode a second chance that was given to him by the Hammer all the way to, well, no, actually had nothing to do with the Hammer. He had that amazing run in the Elimination Gauntlet, and then automatically, because of that, qualified to be a part of the vacant title tournament. You know,
Well, he got to play Kelly.
Right. After he lost to Kelly, was part of that vacant title tournament and blasted through that to, play Cameron for that title. So, you know, Caleb has really been out to prove something this year. And now he has the opportunity, because he's won the title, but he's yet to defend it. And I have a feeling that he really wants to. So Cameron, we have on one side, Cameron wanting to redeem himself from a match that I'm sure in his mind he had won until, you know, one mistake. And then we have Caleb, who's been out to prove himself this entire season. And I think he's still on that run. So this is going to be an interesting one to call.
Yeah, I'd be inclined, based on personal experience, based on the fact that these two have been up against each other. We're like, we've seen this match play out before.
Yeah.
And we know how it turned out before. In those respects, I'd be inclined to give the edge to Caleb, but listening to those stats that Cameron has 8-1, that is solid. That shows that, the one time he slipped up was the fluke.
Yeah.
And the odds are ever in his favor, it would seem. But as strong as Caleb may be, and I'm tempted to, I'm going to have to go with Cameron here.
All right. So the litigator is picking the Dream Worker to claim the title. Megan, what are your thoughts here?
So I'm gonna kind of go through. I have my mind made up, but go through all the information here. We have Caleb, who has claimed the title and has been sitting back watching everyone else go through this tournament and seeing how, and no doubt he's playing along during these matches, seeing how he's gonna match up in these matches, and I'm sure he will claim that he will have won every single match during the entire tournament. I do not put that past him whatsoever.
Yeah.
But Cameron's been in the tournament, having to fight through the tournament all season long and all through the tournament. So the idea of, do you go on the side of someone who has claimed the title, has had a break, but is still able to devote himself fully to studying, or do you go with momentum? Because again, Cameron's had to stay in fighting shape in order to keep winning through the tournament. Now, I am a huge fan of trilogies.
Mm,
And so I want to see Cameron force this into a 1-on-1 situation and force that rubber match
Wow.
later on in the season.
okay.
So I want to see, and I think Cameron, as I hear him mention it almost every time I have gotten to play and be in a match where he is at, he
Yeah.
is not going to let that directors, that Benny round question sink him again if he can help it at all.
No.
And again, as we said, he was ahead every other round in that match.
Yep.
That 6-point swing would have secured him the title the first
Yeah.
time. So I think the stats and the momentum are in Cameron's favor here. Caleb absolutely deserves to be the champion. He has been a strong competitor all throughout the season, so I think he absolutely deserves to be where he's at.
Mm.
But again, I would like to see Cameron take it here and see where we land next season.
All right. All right. So you guys leave it down to me, both picking Cameron. I mean, it's tough because, like I said, both of these competitors are very strong. And yes, we mentioned that Cameron's 8-1. Cameron was in the lead in his title match until the 6-point swing, at which point, you know, he just wasn't able to fight back. But it's not like Cameron was up by 4 or 5 or 6. He was only up by, I believe, 1 point by the time round 3 came around. So, you know, that 6-point swing only gave Caleb an extra 5 points. And, you know, so Caleb was on his tail already. So I feel like these two are pretty even in this. And yes, we talked about how Cameron has blasted through, has TKO'd a lot of his opponents in this tournament. But I will say, I have also seen some weaker play from Cameron in this tournament than I think we saw in the earlier part of the season. I don't know if that was, you know, sequential matches and maybe it was the wear on him, or if, you know, maybe there are some chinks in the armor. One's gotta wonder. But yeah, to, you know, put these two up against each other again, it's tough to call because I honestly think that on any given day, either one of them could win. But given the fact that I think Caleb does want to, he doesn't want to be a one and done champion. He doesn't want to be a champion that doesn't defend. I think that this time Caleb holds on to it. Maybe if they meet again down the road, Cameron takes it off of him. But I think this time Caleb is going to do just enough to hold on to that title. But I'm nowhere near sure.
And absolutely. And if you look at, and just, you know, I'm sticking with my thought that I would like to see Cameron finally get that championship. But
Sure.
if you look at their pure numbers, Boatman has a slight edge in round 1 in their overall averages.
Yeah.
Cameron has a slight advantage in round 2. If you look at the final round, Caleb has a slight edge in accuracy.
Sure.
So it's that back and forth that they are very, very close. And it can just come down to, just like in their first match, one question, one round that just changes the tide for one of them and gives an advantage one way or the other.
Yep. Yep. But, you know, as we said, those are the matches, at least as we know right now. If we get any details on that third match, we will, of course, update you. But that is what we have for now. And once again, wrong. How can you guys be? Do you guys watch this show? Do you pay attention, really? Because I don't think you do. Really don't. Wow, really bad. How are you, Meggles? Good to see you. And
I
by
was
good,
doing
I mean
great
not good.
until about 5 seconds ago. What do you want?
You. Oh, well, I, of course, am here to let everyone know how this is really going to go. Because it's so simple. It's so simple. And, oh, hey, Lauren. Oh, God, I'm so exhausted just talking to you. You're so boring.
Well, if you're so bored, let's just get this over with.
Okay.
Tell us
I
what you
am
think is going to
here
happen.
to enlighten you all. First of all, Blowout wouldn't be complete without the hammer and his guys. All right. We are well represented in this card. First match. I'm sorry. What are you guys even thinking? A second chance match? Who cares? You know what? I'm not going to call that one because I don't care. Because, newsflash for you all, they're all losers. They've all lost a lot. That's why they're in this match. So it really doesn't matter who wins because they're just going to keep losing. But the next match, the king is ready to rise to the throne. Caleb Coho takes down Brian, not even a question. And then the crown jewel, Cameron versus Caleb. Can we get a more perfect championship match? It honestly really doesn't matter who wins this one either, because you know who really wins? We all do. We all win because these two are the cream of the movie Battles crop. If Caleb wins, he is a defending movie Battles champion, and he is going to let you all know what a champion should be like. If Cameron wins, my goodness, a new era begins. It's just going to be magnificent. But we're now down to the real reason I'm here, okay? The mystery third match. Oh, there's a third match. I don't know what it's gonna be. Well, you know what? I do. I know what it's gonna be, because it was supposed to be big match. I was gonna I was gonna make a comeback. I was going to play. I got challenged by somebody that ran away from the game, and wouldn't you know it, they ran away from me. But you know what? As I was preparing and just getting ready for that match, I kind of got the urge to really, stick it to somebody, really kind of, make somebody pay. So if I can't have that match, I know exactly who I'm gonna play. Jeremy Adams! That's right! That's right! The pain train keeps a rolling. Jeremy the Adams, you and I have a date with destiny, and you're picking up the check, my friend. Oh yeah, that's right. And just so everyone knows out there, when it comes to picking that match, it's really not is the Hammer gonna win? Is Jeremy gonna win? It's more, is the Hammer gonna TKO or KO Jeremy? That's the real question. Really just feels like it really just depends on how much I feel like playing with my food that day. That's really what it depends on. But that's all for me right now. You guys look forward to that match. I can't wait to see how you guys call it. Be wrong as usual, but I'm done with you now. It's been your pleasure. Okay.
What
Well,
happened? I thought you got this fixed.
Look, I always think I have it fixed, and then he just comes. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I got
Well,
a litigator to help me out with the last troubles. I need like an engineer for this one.
something.
Yeah. But
Ugh.
look, hey, look. At least we know the third match.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, and he actually supplied me with artwork. So yeah, it looks like the third match on the card is going to be a grudge match between Jeremy the Adams and the Hammer. I mean, I gotta say, at this point, I'm feeling bad for Jeremy. I kind of am looking forward to him getting an opportunity at personal revenge against him. I mean,
Right.
here's the thing. Jeremy, while hasn't had the strongest record this year, has proven that he has some knowledge. We don't know what the Hammer can do. I mean, yeah, he claims to be a former 3-time champion, but we haven't seen any of those matches. We don't know what what's going on there. So yeah, I mean, I really hope that Jeremy gets the opportunity at a little bit of revenge against the Hammer. I mean, I guess I'm picking Jeremy in this. I don't know.
I mean, honestly, based on experiences, I don't know what reason. He hasn't given us any reasons to pick the Hammer. He has done nothing but
the
antagonize.
Little bit of knowledge that we have seen him show is not impressive.
No. And he's is all talking about the 3-time champion. I haven't seen 3-time champion stats. So this actually could get interesting because I will finally have some stats in this league to throw back in his face if I need to. So I will say, Jeremy, please shut him up. Just please do something here. Make it close if you have to. Even if you don't win, just make it close.
Yeah.
So that I have something, some ammunition here.
I will say the Hammer has not officially qualified for the league. He's not an official player. We are going to allow this match to take place, but it's kind of going to be unsanctioned. So, I mean, if the Hammer should happen to beat Jeremy, it's not really going to count against Jeremy's record. So, Jeremy's basically playing with house money here. But yeah, I mean, Lauren, as another target of the Hammer, what are your thoughts on this match?
I mean, like you were saying, we don't. He can say what his record is, but he hasn't produced any credentials for this. Hammer doesn't strike me as a terribly credible source thus far. And we know what Jeremy's done before. And I'm certainly going to be in Jeremy's corner. Like you said.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, are any of us picking the Hammer? No. Yeah. I mean, he's got no stats. He's got nothing
to talk about here.
No. But that is the card for Blowout. And that match, like I said, is gonna air third on Wednesday, the 21st. So make sure to check out all of these great matches that are gonna air all throughout the week before Christmas. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And I will say, we have a lot of surprises in store for everyone. I would encourage you guys to check out these matches. They're going to be a lot of fun. But as always, make sure to like, subscribe to the channel. Also check out the Flying Cow, the podcast feed. Check out all of the shows that we have over there. Also, don't forget to check out the patreon.com/the Flying Cow. Sign up over there and you can get mine and Lauren's exclusive podcast Around the World, where we talk about the Ernest films. I believe in the month of December we will be reviewing Ernest Saves Christmas, so just in time for the holidays. But yeah, that is all from us for now. So thank you guys for watching, and until next time, moo.